For the last few years, we've been talking about 3 pre's in soybeans. We want to explain that a little bit today and talk about how cost-effective that can often be.
Now, we talk about resistant weeds quite often, and one of the toughest places to fight resistant broadleaf weeds is in a broadleaf crop like soybeans. So we've got palmer pigweed, we've got mare's tail, kochia, a number of these tough broadleaf type weeds. What do all these weeds have in common? Well, a couple things. One, we don't have many post-emerge options to control them. And two, we've got a bunch of pre-emerge options that are pretty effective on these weeds. And when used in combination, we can almost completely wipe them out.
All right, let's talk first about the modes of action we want you to use pre-emerge. Well, the first one is we want you to use one of the yellows, one of the DNAs. We love those products. They can't be used post-emerge. They can't be used in many other crops, especially the grass crops. So one of the old products like Treflan, Sonalan, or Prowl, very cost effective, have good activity on most of those broadleaves, excellent activity on grass also. In addition, we want you to go with metribuzin. Okay, here again, metribuzin can't be used post, can't be used in several other crops. Metribuzin is awesome, doesn't last real long in the soil. You just have to be a little concerned about what's your soil pH and how light is your soil. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then finally, use a PPO. Authority or Valor, not Sharpen, Authority or Valor, because you can use a high rate in soybeans and leave yourself really good residuals. So there are 3 pre's. Those are the ones we want you to use.
Well, a couple of the big keys here. These pre's, we can't use them post-emerge in soybeans, so we're taking no post-emerge options off the table. We still have all the tools in our arsenal. We're in good shape for post-emerge control. Now, you do have to plant the right herbicide-tolerant crop for your area. We would suggest either Liberty Link, Enlist when that becomes labeled, or Extend. Those would be really good options. But you know, here's the thing, you can use those pre's even in conventional soybeans. So it doesn't really matter the trait. You can use these pre's and they don't take options away post.
Okay, before we get into exactly how to use these products and a little bit more about cost, let's talk about the pre's we don't want you to use. The first one is a Group 15. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there that want you to use a Dual or a Warrant or a Zidua or something like that, pre instead of a yellow. No way, no how. They're not even close to as good as the yellow is going to be. Plus, they're more expensive. Plus, we really have to worry about resistance because here's the thing. I kind of want you to use Group 15 post in soybeans, early post for residual, and I know I want you to use a Group 15 in corn. So if you're in a corn-soybean rotation, now we're already using it every year. Do we really want to use it pre in addition to a post application in soybeans and pre in corn? No way. I don't want to use it that many times. I'm really worried about resistance, so that's why I don't want the Group 15. I'd also just as soon save products like FlexStar, Pursuit, First Rate, all those types of products for post-emerge use rather than burning them up pre. You can use them pre, but I'd prefer to use them post.
All right, Brian, I'm going to give you some of the feedback when we talk about 3 pre's. What I hear is, well, do I have to use a full rate of all 3? And then how much is that going to cost me?
Well, it all depends on what your situation is. So let's talk about each one of these things individually. The PPO, either Valor or Authority, yeah, I'm probably going to want you to use a full rate or at least close to it. There's no reason not to. But when we start looking at the other 2 products, well, that's where I might want to cut back. With metribuzin, the full rate is actually 2/3 of a pound. We rarely talk about anything more than 1/3 of a pound, and if you've got high pH soil, it's probably 1/6 of a pound. Now, if you've got really sandy conditions, we might be down to 1/8 of a pound or 1/12 of a pound, so you got to look at the rate, talk to your agronomist on that. And then we go to the yellows. I love Prowl and Sonalan at the full rate. With trifluralin, I don't love it at the full rate because I get worried about carryover. If you go with a 3/4 rate, 1.5 pints on trifluralin, dirt cheap, $4 an acre, it's going to work quite well for you. That's probably where I'm going to settle on that. I'm probably going to run 2.5 to 3 ounces on Valor or the high rate on Authority, and then I'm probably going 1/3 of a pound of metribuzin on our farm. So grand total, I'm going to spend maybe $14 an acre. It's not that much money. Yes, you'll spend more if you go to Sonalan or Prowl, but I'm just trying to say here, it's relatively inexpensive, especially when you consider another shot of a 2,4-D or dicamba product post, or even having any weeds out in that field. You need great weed control if you want top yields.
2 things real quick. Don't look at it as cost, look at it as a return on investment. For 1.5 bushels of soybeans, you get unbelievable weed control. And second, if you've never done this before on your farm, try a field or try part of your farm, leave a check strip and see what happens doing it the old way versus using the 3 Pre's. I'm confident that this will make you money on your farm.
What I often talk to people about is 99.9% weed control on many of the toughest resistant weeds. That's why I love the 3 Pre program. Even if you have something good post-emerge, it really thins out the weeds. You can spray a little bit later, and you don't have to count solely on that post-emerge product, and you almost always will have higher yields.
And regardless of where our weed of the week is growing, we'll show you how to stop it coming up next.